Yard maintenance, delegate or relegate? Wow, already mid-November. Blink. Seems like just yesterday it was just beginning to fall, and here we are already in the middle of fall and steaming towards the winter solstice already. Hey, Coach here, and this week I am speaking to you about yard maintenance. Should you do it yourself? Should you hire it out? And what are the pros and cons of whatever decision you make? Hey, glad you're here. Stay with me. We'll be right back. Hey, I'm Matt, and you can call me Coach. Every week I bring you landscapes, tips and tricks, and design concepts in an easy to understand format so you can tackle projects yourself, get the results you want, and be more self-reliant. And best of all, save a lot of money in the process. So let's think about this. The scenario opens with the purchase of a home. Maybe it's your first home, maybe it's your third one. It really doesn't matter much. You are faced with the fact that the yard needs to be tended and maintained to whatever degree helps keep it looking nice at all times. You have a decision to make. Do you do this yourself, which is where I always lean, or do you hire it out to a yard care service to whatever degree you want? Leave me a thought of what you do and why in those comments below, would you? Let's say you decide to hire it out to a yard care professional. All right, how do you go about hiring one in the first place? How do you interview a company, and what questions, especially what questions do you ask these folks? Are they local, or are they a large outfit that works in multiple towns or even counties? And how will that affect your yard's care? Here are some thoughts to consider, and thoughts of mine that come from many years of professional experience. First, I was a yard care pro for a few years. Truly and honestly, I did not enjoy this niche of the landscaping industry. The reason was the tie to a weekly route of care all the time. I did not like this one little bit. I'd like doing landscaping jobs and then taking a couple of days off and not always having to be at the Jones or the Smiths on Tuesday or Wednesday. The other was the cheaper competition by less, and I emphasize less, than professional landscape maintenance professionals who are out there. Anybody with a dinky pickup, mower, blower, edger, and hedge clippers were in business. They were not licensed, they were not educated, they were not insured, and they certainly did not look professional. If I bid $60 a month, they would bid $35. When they got fired for poor performance, the same customers would call me back and want to hire me for the other guy's rate. The other guy's rate, not my rate. It was maddening. So I got away from the landscape maintenance part of that industry. So back on point, I always suggest watching your neighborhood. There are landscape professionals out there that come into your neighborhood every week, I'm sure, and tend those people's yards. Hey, knock on the door one day when you're out on an evening walk. Ask them how happy they are with the service, maybe how much they charge, and do they feel like they're getting their money's worth. If all seems okay, you might want to ask for the number and call them and set up an appointment time. When they arrive, I would really suggest you take note of the punctuality. This is a huge professional indicator of professionalism and putting your time, your valuable time as a potential customer, ahead of their own. Here's a small list of questions you can ask, and ones that I have been asked myself, and I have coached other people on what to ask. First of all, number one, obviously, what services do they offer? Are they just a mow, edge, blow, and gone, or do they have other services as well? Two, what additional add-on services are available, and what are the costs for each of those add-on services? Hey, number three, how long have you been in business, and what references might you provide me? A lot of times, legitimate companies will have that. Fly-by-nights will not. How about, are you insured? Are you insured and bonded for not only your protection as a homeowner, but their protection as a business person? And vitally important, and I always suggest this question, Are your workers covered by workers' compensation? That is huge. If you have a trip and fall on your property, and say, for instance, there is some liability there, and that person breaks their arm or twists an ankle, if they don't have workers' comp, they can essentially come after you. Hey, number 5, do your workers speak English? Isn't it nice to be able to communicate with the people who are coming on your property once a week? I would say so, you know. How many accounts do you have currently, and how many workers serve these accounts? That's pretty important as far as time management. If there's a scheduled time that your maintenance person is supposed to show up, say like 10 o'clock on Tuesdays, and they're not there till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they're there at 9 o'clock the next week, and they're there at 1 o'clock the next week, you're seeing a vast inconsistencies and there's no communication. These people should be there relatively on the same day at the same time, or communication by phone or text should be there. How long do you estimate each visit will take based on the services I'm asking for? This is another big one. You know, are they going to be there for 10 minutes? Or are they going to be there for 45 minutes to do what they need to do? And that'll all depend on how many people are actually doing the job at the time. Now, legitimate professional landscape professionals will expect these questions, have the answers ready for you, and probably a lot of them are answered in a website or a brochure. If you have a guy who gets out and is just dusting off his pants and spitting out his chew and putting his hat back around straight and going, "What can I do for you, ma'am?" You know, that may be a guy who's good at what he does, but he just doesn't present in a professional manner. And from a homeowner's perspective and also a landscape professional's perspective, I think first impressions are paramount. Do you want that person coming on your property? Probably when you're not there. I'll tell you, those who are less than professional will stand out like sore thumbs, and anybody with a modicum of common sense will pick up on it right away. The less than professional folks will usually be a lowballer every single time and be much cheaper than the real pros. They will quote you $50 a month compared to $2 or $3 $80 a month that you've gotten from other more reputable firms. And then in 3 months, they'll turn around and raise it to $80, claiming that, rising costs, insurance, all that other stuff. They will not offer a contract or service agreement to you for a period of time, which locks in rates for you and protects you and the pro company should issues arise. I have seen in the area that I've worked, unnamed companies arrive at home with 4 guys crammed in a pickup truck, bail out, mowers come flying out of the bed of the truck, edgers come off the racks, blowers go onto the backs, and a standard residential yard is mowed, blowed, edged, and blown down in less than 15 minutes, and they are gone. And the thing is when you start looking at their work, I'll cover that in just a minute. The yards were not big. They were probably about 65 by 100 with a 2-story house on it. So, if one person was doing it, I would say they would be there for about 45 minutes. 4 guys, 15 minutes or less. And then you saw the professional flaws that started to come out. You could tell that their mowers were not sharp. Their edging was shoddy at best. They started to walk the edges back from the concrete or the edging more and more and more to where you started to have that gap. That's really poor edging. And they just were not professional. They weren't. The reason I saw these guys is because I was there taking care of the ladies' backyard sprinkler systems, where these same guys had hit the sprinklers with the mower and the edgers and have ruined nozzles and snapped off heads. And they made no apologies and did not offer to fix anything. And then I asked the lady, I said, "Hey, these guys come in and go really fast, don't they?" "Oh, yeah." I said, if you could just share with me, how much do you pay them every month?" And she said, "I got a heck of a deal. I got $25 a month." I said, "Well, how long have they been here?" "Oh, 3 weeks, but $25 a month, and they're here 4 times a month, Matt." I went, "Wow." And then I went back to fixing her sprinklers, and then looking at her lawn edge, and then looking at the quality of mow because the blades are really dull. You just get what you pay for, I guess, huh? The other thing I want you to consider is home safety. Most of the time, probably 90% of the time, except for retired couples or a stay-at-home parent or something, these guys are there when you are not. And that insurance, that bonding and other stuff goes, you know, a little ways to feeling a little better about it. But sometimes you just don't know. That guy that you talked to that sold you, you know, his service, that doesn't mean he's the one showing up. He might be the owner of the company, he might be a foreman, he might be a salesman, and he's not the one showing up. So on Tuesday at 10, when Joe Schmo and his brother Larry get out of the truck and you go, who are these guys? I don't know them. Or you come home and your back gate is unlocked. Or your neighbor tells you, hey, who are those guys there? I saw them looking in your front door window. What's going on with that? You know something? You really need to feel comfortable in here with the people that you're talking to. And ask that question to that foreman or that salesman. Who are the guys that are showing up? If it's not you, who are they? And is everything copacetic with that? Make sure you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, why would you have anybody on your property just to mow your lawn and edge and blow and be gone? You just never know in this day and age what their motives are. I have gone to people's yards to consult with them when their mow and blow people are there, and I've caught their employees in the backyard peeing in the corner, back behind the bushes. And that's just unacceptable. Unacceptable and a tainted slap in the face to the landscape industry. So find the best you can find at the best price you can get. Why would you want to do it yourself? Say, for instance, your first house, you hired it out because you were a busy person. Maybe you were out of town all the time or working odd hours and you had to hire it out. You really weren't that happy, and maybe you got burned by a company or two. So now you got this new house, and now you're going to do it yourself, by God, because I'm not going to have anybody else coming on my property. I just don't trust them and I don't like them anymore. So this is the way I'm going to go. So if you think about the simple tools that you might need, these are no-brainers, but you think about it. Depending on the size of your yard, now I'm sitting on just about 2 acres where I'm filming this today, and over I'd say maybe 60% of it is lawn. And my family member tells me that it takes him, get this, about 3.5 hours a week to take care of this. 3.5 hours a week. Now, if your residential landscape is not nearly that big, then you could probably look at it as an hour or less for one person to do a small front yard and a small backyard in the form of mowing and edging and blowing it down, washing it down, sweeping it up, raking it up. Probably about an hour a week. You will have neat as a pin yard. Unless you're in the height of fall like we are now and everything is dropping and you can't seem to catch up with it. But that's only for a few weeks out of the year, right? We talk about the equipment. We're going to need a good power mower. That power mowers can be of the good Go Green type of battery or electric mowers, or you can get the standard gasoline mowers. Either ones are fine. I have become really enamored with the good electric mowers out there. Just rechargeable lithium batteries that you throw on the charger every week, put them in the mower on a Saturday, and you're good to go. And you don't have all the oil and gas and pollution or whatever, but you can't really do a yard like the size I'm standing in right now with an electric one unless you have a lot of batteries and a lot of time, because they're generally about a 20-inch wide mower, and this thing here requires a 42-inch ride-on to do it correctly. So a good mower. The next thing you're going to need is an edger of some kind. I'm assuming that you either have a natural edge or you have a cement edge like what you see here, and that's going to require some type of edging. Otherwise it's just going to look kind of sloppy. Those edgers can be gasoline string trimmers, gasoline rotary blade trimmers, or if you really want, you can get the old long-handled rolling edging tool, or even the old clippers. You can get clippers too, which on something like this would be just idiotic. But if you had a small yard, you can get down on your hands and knees and hand clip that and hand clip around the sprinklers if you have them. That's been doing it for decades before, so still do it today, right? The other thing you need is maybe a little blower. And if you have a small residential yard, I don't think you need a gasoline backpack blower. A nice rechargeable electric one that kind of uses the same batteries as your electric mower. Fantastic way of staying green. Just recharge it every week. Go out there and blow off your clippings, blow off your driveway, maybe your gutters up top or your street gutter out front. You can do that on a simple charge without any problem whatsoever. So a good blower. Then rakes, hand clippers, loppers, and you're good to go. You can take care of 95% of all your landscaping needs with those 5 or 6 simple tools. So you not got a huge investment, but there is an investment involved. Now, you know, when taking care of a simple residential lawn, I always look at it as the 4 times a year approach or the 4-season approach, which always has worked well for me both professionally and privately. First, do a good feeding in the early spring. Your early spring may be late February, it might be late March, late April, even late May if you're up in some of the high countries, but 4 times a year. Mine always was the end of February. The second one was always prior to the heat of summer, so say like early June, then after Labor Day in September, and then the 4th and final one was right around when the rain started, say like Thanksgiving-ish, something like that. Always kept the lawn in great shape without over-fertilizing or burning, and always kept the lawn in a good green to root ratio so that it never got really burnt or dried out very much at all. Maintaining the irrigation system, if you have one, checking it basically about 2 times a year unless there's a problem. Winterizing in the colder regions by blowing water out of your system is paramount. Adjusting timer settings throughout each season is also very important, including the off button if it starts to rain. There's nothing more maddening in this day and age seeing water being wasted while it's pouring down rain. Some of you cities and counties out there, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves because you're some of the biggest violators. You know, with timers nowadays, adjusting those timers are so easy. I am partial to Rainbird timers, but they have all different kinds out there. Irritrol, Toro, Hunter, they all make fantastic ones. And now you even have them with Bluetooth capabilities where you can program it into your phone and you can adjust up and down, turn your system on or off from anywhere on the globe. So it's really kind of a modern tech convenience that's out there now for irrigation timers. Nipping and tucking shrubs and trees probably 2 or 3 times a year at the most, plus any projects that you've added on to the landscape as far as container color, maybe color beds or baskets, veggie beds, fruit orchards, etc. None of this addresses any care of the exterior of your home at all. Windows getting washed, patios getting washed down, fences being sprayed and cleaned and resealed periodically, and of course, you know, painting of the house once in a while and cleaning up and taking care of any pet damage. Anyone who has even a small ability to manage their time correctly can do all this with little time expenditure. If you have kids that are of age and can help, by all means, teach them, drag them outside away from the phone and the television. So, where are you on this choice? Hopefully some of this has educated you a little, or at the very least raised your level of awareness as far as what is involved to do it right. There are pluses on either side of the fence when it comes to yard maintenance. You can't mow your lawn if you go take a 3-week vacation somewhere, but a service can. My suggestion might be, when I was a small lad of about 13 years old, I made some pretty good money for being in the 70s by offering mowing services and vacation house checks and pet care to those people in my neighborhood when they maybe went on vacation for business or pleasure. Maybe consider hiring one of a good neighbor kids and teach them the value of making a buck and learning a new skill at the same time. Hey guys, thanks for watching until the end. I really appreciate it. I will catch you every Friday with 2 videos a week. One is my plan of the week, and one is the landscape informative channel that gives you tips and tricks and landscape design concepts that you can use. Share this video, ring that bell, hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you guys next week. Take care.